The station floated silently above the gas giant, wrapped in clouds of orange and violet. It was called Relay 7, a small research outpost meant to scan forgotten corners of the galaxy for ancient tech or lost signals. Nothing important ever happened. Here, for young archivist Drillix, it was the most boring assignment in the universe. Drillix was a Kirel, a thin, four-eyed species known for logic and patience. He had both. That's why they gave him the job sitting alone for months, reading ancient files and sorting through dead noise from dead worlds. He thought nothing would ever surprise him until the signal came. It happened at shift change. Drillix was sipping a bitter cup of Kelshroot tea, staring at a monitor filled with static. Then, a spike. A sudden sound. Not natural, not random. A pattern. He leaned forward, eyes wide. The signal repeated, low and broken, like something very old trying to speak. He hit record, then analysis. The computer struggled. The language was unknown. No, wait. The database blinked. It matched. Match found. Human Standard English. Classification. Forbidden language. Grillix frowned. That's not possible, he whispered. Earth was a myth, an old story told by drunk merchants and rogue. AI programs, place that once existed long before the Galactic Council, long before memory itself. No one really believed in it. Most records said it was a fake. A lie, a scary tale used to control children. But the signal was real. He ran it. Through a decryption filter. After several long minutes, the sound cleared. A voice emerged. Deep, calm, human. We warned you, the voice said. If you're hearing this, it's already too late. Drellix froze. He played it again. We warned you. If you're hearing this, it's already too late. He backed away from the console. His skin prickled. The lights above flickered for a moment. Something about the voice made him feel watched. He opened a secure channel to Central Archive Control, heart racing.
Ow.
The line crackled, then connected. Relay 7, reporting. I've received an unknown signal from the Sol system, he said. The operator replied instantly. Did you say the Sol system? Yes. Coordinates match the old myths. The language is Human Standard English. There was a pause, then static. And silence. The connection had been cut. Drillix tried again. No response. Then the station lights dimmed. He stood up. No. The signal played again on its own. We warned you if you're hearing this. He smashed the console to shut it off. The screen blinked. New text appeared. Unauthorized access detected. Memory blocks unlocking. What? Does that mean? Drillix muttered. Files began appearing on the screen. Old dark files with red security warnings. Most were marked Earth-class extinction tier. Others were labeled Black Archive. All forbidden. It's all sealed for thousands of years. But something had triggered them. The human signal had unlocked them. Drillix opened the first file. It was a blurry image of a blue planet with a single word beneath it, Earth. He clicked the next. A video began. Grainy footage showed humans walking through a burning city, calmly giving orders as they fought off massive alien beasts. Not with fear, but with precision, intelligence, rage. Another file showed a map of the galaxy. With Earth at the center, another showed something worse. Thousands of alien species bowing before a human. A figure wearing black armor. Drillix couldn't look. Away, he whispered. Why would the council hide this? The files began deleting themselves. No, he shouted. Tried to stop the deletion, but the controls were frozen. Final message flashed Earth. Truth is forbidden. Do not seek IT. Do not awaken them. Then everything went black. The station. Powered down. Only emergency lights remained. The oxygen level dropped slightly, barely noticeable. But Drillix noticed. He grabbed his data crystal and transferred what little he could, save some corrupted audio. A few still images and one terrifying quote from the last file. They did not vanish. They chose silence. And now they listen. Ran to the emergency comm station. Manual controls only. He started a transmission, hoping someone, anyone, would respond. But before he could send it, something outside the window caught his eye. A satellite. Not alien, human-made. It had drifted silently through space for thousands of years, covered in ancient rust. But now, it was moving slowly, turning toward the station. Its camera lens glowed red. The signal returned. "We warned you." Dord. "If you're hearing this," the satellite broadcast a new message. "You have broken the seal. They're waking up." Drillix fell back in his chair, shaking. The truth was clear now. Earth wasn't a myth. Earth wasn't destroyed. It had been hidden, buried, feared, and now something had changed. The stars felt colder. The silence around the station heavier. It was like the galaxy itself was holding its breath, because the one thing more terrifying than humans being gone was them coming back, and someone, maybe him, had just knocked on their door. Drillix didn't sleep. Couldn't. The station was too quiet to still. Outside, the satellite continued to turn slowly, its red eye fixed on Relay 7. It had no weapons, no engines. It just watched. The signal had stopped, but the words stayed in Drellix's head. "You have broken the seal. They are waking up." He paced the hallway outside the control room. The emergency lights flickered every few minutes. No one had responded to his distress call. Not from the archive, not from the council. It's not even passing ships. They were ignoring him, or worse, they knew what he'd found and didn't want it getting out. He returned to his console. The files were gone, wiped clean. But the data crystal in his pocket still buzzed faintly. It had copied something. Not enough, but maybe enough to lead him further. There was one clue. One line of code in the final deleted message had mentioned Vault Omega. That wasn't in the standard archive directory. Drillix knew what that meant. The deep vaults. Hidden beneath the Galactic Council headquarters on Ether Prime. The vaults were sealed storage areas for dangerous or forbidden knowledge. Very few people were even allowed to know they existed. Entry required top-level clearance. Or the right kind of trickery. Drillix didn't have access. But he knew someone who did. He landed on Ether Prime 2 standard days later. His personal record was still clean. No official orders had been filed against him. Not yet. But he knew that wouldn't last long. He moved through the busy streets of the capital, keeping his hood low. Every giant screen in the plaza showed the council's latest speech, praising unity, peace, and order. No mention of Earth, no mention of Soul. Exactly how they wanted it. His destination was buried under the Terrakive Tower, an old entrance no one used anymore. His former mentor, archivist Sen Varen, once mentioned it during one of their long talks about forbidden tech. "You want to see the truth?" Sen had joked. "You'd have to crawl through the guts of this place. Down where even the cleaners won't go." Drillix found the service hatch, rusted shut, locked with a key code no one had used in decades. But his crystal buzzed again. The signal guided him almost like it wanted him to find the way. The hatch opened. The tunnels were dark, cold, full of dust and the humming of old machines. It took him hours to find Vault Omega. When he did, it wasn't what he expected. No guards, no traps. Just a black door with a glowing red symbol. Earth-class content. Do not open. The gear inside was thick and dry, like nothing had moved in years. Rows of glowing data cores stretched out before him, thousands of them, all silent. He activated the nearest one. A screen flickered on. Archive record 7140X. Species. Human status. Origin. Threat level. Total extinction tier. Drillix leaned closer. The screen showed images. Humans building vast starships. Humans terraforming entire worlds in weeks. Humans fighting off creatures that made black holes look tame. There was no fear in their eyes. No hesitation. Then came the council reports. Human expansion must be stopped. They adapt too fast. They do not lose. Become what they fight. If left unchecked, they will rule everything forever. Then came the plan. A secret vote. A massive operation. Not war. Erasure. The council didn't try to defeat Earth. They buried it, scrubbed all maps, wiped all memories, rewrote history. One quote chilled Drillix to his core. Victory is not defeating humans. It is making the galaxy forget they ever existed. He stumbled back from the screen. His heart pounded. All the lies. All the myths Earth had once ruled. Not as tyrants, but as protectors. Warriors, builders, teachers, but they had made the Council afraid, so the Council had erased them. Another screen activated nearby. Not by him. It showed a council meeting secret, recorded in shadows. One voice spoke. We must never let them return. Seal must hold. If even one signal gets out, another voice interrupted. Then we burn the system, again. Had already destroyed Sol once, or tried to. Right. But Earth had survived it, hidden itself. Drillix realized something. Earth hadn't just been erased. It had erased itself. The final screen showed a map of the Milky Way. A red circle pulsed in the center, the Sol system. Then came a message, written in perfect Corel script. They will awaken only when the galaxy needs them again. Now, someone had triggered the signal drill. He reached for his crystal again, but it pulsed so hot it burned his hand. He dropped it. The red eye from the satellite flashed across his mind. He wasn't alone anymore. He turned to leave. But at the exit, a figure stood waiting, tall, cloaked in the black robes of the High Council. Drillix froze. You shouldn't be here. Figure said, voice hollow. I know what you did, Drillix said. The figure didn't respond. Just stepped forward. I won't let you hide the truth anymore, Drillix added, louder now. Still no reply. Drillix backed away and turned and ran. The tunnel lights behind him began to flicker, then explode in bursts of sparks. He didn't look back. Hours later, he sat alone in an abandoned spaceport hangar. His hands trembled. He uploaded what he had left from the vault to a secure shadow network used by rogue researchers and data smugglers. It was all out now. The lies, the videos, the proof. He stared at the screen. No one responded yet. But soon someone would. Then the screen blinked. A new message appeared, not from the network. It was short. 5 words. No source, we hear. You, little one. Then another line. We are almost awake. Drillix stared in silence. The Council had lied. The galaxy had obeyed. But Earth had never been gone. It had simply waited. And now waiting was over. The ship dropped out of hyperspace just beyond the orbit of Pluto. Drillix sat in the back, silent, heart pounding. Round him, the crew of the smuggler ship, a group of hardened, exiled aliens, stared out the windows with uneasy eyes. No. One spoke. Before them was the Sol system. Banned, forgotten, hushed, but not empty. Drillix leaned forward. Is that Earth? The pilot, a gray-scaled Ralvec with 3 arms and a broken jaw, squinted. Looks like it. Blue, green, but quiet. Too quiet. Earth floated in the void like a ghost. Its surface looked whole, cities still visible. From orbit, no fires, no damage, but no lights, no signals. No movement. Like it had frozen in time. The crew called it cursed. Dead. Sleeping, Drillix only stared, feeling something twist in his chest. He couldn't explain it, but the planet was watching him. The ship approached slowly. No satellites moved. No ships came to warn them away. No defenses activated. And yet it felt wrong. They entered orbit. The crew ran scans. Power readings were strange low, but active in places where nothing should be. One reading stood out. Deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, an artificial structure, the pilot said, still running. Want to land? Drillix nodded. The ship descended through silent clouds and cold winds. They flew over empty megacities, vast towers overgrown with moss and vines. Cars sat in rows, untouched for centuries. Billboards still glowed faintly. No bodies, no animals. No. Not even birds. It wasn't death. It was pause. They landed in what had once been New York. The skyline still stood, cracked and leaning, but not collapsed. Wind blew trash across cracked pavement. The moment Drillich stepped outside, something clicked in his brain. Not a sound, not a voice, just recognition, as if the ground itself had been waiting for him. They moved through the ruins. With flashlights, the smuggler crew whispered to each other in frightened tones. One of them, a wide-eyed bug-like being named Rix, stopped walking. "Do you hear that?" Rix said. "No," Drillich replied. "Exactly." It was too quiet. They reached an old building, once a human government center. Inside, they found preserved furniture, computers, even food in sealed packs. Then they found a staircase that didn't match the building plans. It led down at the bottom. Find a sealed vault door. They found it. A chamber still powered. Human. Markings glowed on the walls. Inside were rows of black pods, all empty in a single terminal. Drillich approached. It turned on without touch. Identity scan. Match found. Everyone froze. "Welcome back, Commander." Drillich stared at the screen. "What?" The crew backed away. The computer continued. Earth Protocol Omega-13 detected. Status: outer. Threat present. Observation. Council interference. "What does that mean?" Drillich asked aloud. The screen changed. A video began playing. Grainy footage. War. Not from the outside, but inside. Humans fighting against strange, shifting creatures. Beings made of light and darkness. Physics bent around them, but the humans fought back. In one, the video showed them building machines across the stars, rebuilding worlds, teaching species to fight, then ... silence. The final part of the footage showed the Earth turning dark, and a voice speaking. "We did not vanish. We chose silence, because we saw what's coming." The screen flickered. A new message blinked across it. "You broke the seal? Protocol Starbound initiated. Terminal. Shut off." Suddenly, the walls veered from. Deep beneath the facility, something hummed to life. Drillich turned. "We need to leave now." They ran back up to the surface. The sky had changed. Strange clouds rolled across it, not natural weather, but movement from deep atmospheric layers. Orbit showed several dormant satellites now blinking green. One of the smugglers screamed. Rix had wandered too far ahead and stepped into a broken building. Now he stood frozen, staring into the darkness. Drillich rushed over. Rix's eyes glowed faintly. "Rix," he asked. Rix turned slowly. His voice was not his own. "They saw us," the voice said. "They remember now." Then Rix collapsed. Drillich carried him back to the ship. He was breathing, but unconscious. In orbit, the ship's sensors picked up something worse. A station, old and invisible until now, decloaked above the moon. It bore human markings. Its weapons were deactivated. But power readings showed full readiness. A signal broadcast from it across all nearby channels. "This sector is under quarantine. Unauthorized presence detected. Prepare for judgment." The crew panicked. The pilot shouted, "We need to get out." Drillich sat in silence. He understood now. This wasn't a grave. It was a lock. A warning. Earth wasn't abandoned. It had been left in stasis by choice. And now they were waking up. Drillich looked down at the blue planet below. He whispered, "What did we just unleash?" The ship jumped back into hyperspace, leaving the Sol system behind. But even from that distance, he could still feel it. Earth was no longer silent, and the stars would never be the same. Drillich stared at the footage again, over and over. He couldn't look away. The bunker under Earth's ocean had saved the files old, corrupted but still watchable. Every frame burned into his mind. Humans didn't just fight. They adapted, evolved. They learned from every enemy, every failure. Monsters that twisted reality, they studied them. Machines from outside time, they hijacked them. Alien warlords, they turned them into allies or ashes. And the humans smiled while doing it. Not because they loved war, it's because they had seen something no one else had, and it had terrified them. The final broadcast repeated in his mind like a curse. We did not lose. We chose silence. Because we saw what's coming. What could scare a species like that? What could drive them to erase themselves, hide their homeworld, and lock their history behind layers of silence? He didn't know, not yet, but he was going to find out. He landed in a forgotten colony on the edge of the Tether Expanse, a place known for smugglers, outlaw scientists, and data traders. If anyone had more human records, real ones, it would be here. He walked through the dusty streets, hiding his face. The files he carried were enough to get him arrested, or worse. At a low-tech bar made of scrap metal and bones, he met a contact. Old, gray, scarred. No name, just called himself Ren. He claimed to be a collector of lost truths. When Drellick said the word Earth, Ren's eyes narrowed. "You've seen it," Ren said. Not a question. A fact. Drillix nodded. "I went there, still alive." Ren didn't blink. "I know." He led Drellix to a hidden room behind the bar. Inside was a single table, an old viewing orb, and several black data cubes sealed with ancient codes. Ren opened one. "What I'm about to show you," he said, "was never meant to survive, but I kept it. Because I knew one day someone would come looking." The orb lit up. A hologram appeared, clear, sharp, untouched by time. A human general stood tall, armor scorched, blood on his face. Behind him, a planet burned. His voice was calm. "They won't understand, not now. But one day when the stars bleed again, they'll need us, and we will return." Another recording followed. A council meeting, secret old, probably from just after Earth disappeared. One alien leader whispered, "They should have ruled everything." Another said, "They did." Then a third spoke the words Drylix would never forget. They became what we feared most, not monsters, not conquerors, but judges, and we couldn't stop them. Drylix leaned forward. "What were they judging?" Ren answered quietly. "Us." The last file showed a list, a long one. Species names, dates, planets, and 2 columns, survived and purged. "They cleaned the galaxy," Ren whispered, "but not with fire, with rules, power, with mercy, until they saw something worse." Drillix pointed. "What is that last name?" Ren hesitated, then showed him. The final entry read, "Unknown entity, origin, beyond known space status, observed." There was no outcome. No verdict, just a warning. Below it was a single word. Ren Drillix's voice shook. "This is what made them go silent." Ren nodded. Yes, whatever it was. Humans decided it was safer to disappear than to keep fighting. Drillix stood. "Up. I have to warn the council." Ren looked at him sadly. "They already know. They're the ones who buried it all." Later that night, Drillix sat in his stolen ship, uploading everything he could to a shadow archive. The truth had to spread. People had to see the humans not as myths, not as monsters, but as the only ones who ever understood the real threat. His console beeped. Incoming message, unknown source. He opened it. A simple video played. Footage from space. A black hole, but not natural. Not spinning, not consuming, just waiting. In the corner of the screen, a single human voice whispered. We saw it blink. Then a final line. When it comes. Again, we rise. Drillix stared, shaking. He now understood. Humans hadn't left out of fear. They'd left out of responsibility, to protect everyone else from what they had found. But now, thanks to him, they were waking up. Because the thing they feared might be coming back. And Earth never forgot. The Galactic Council chamber was unusually quiet. 1,000 alien leaders sat around the circular hall, their eyes locked on a single screen. On it played footage no one had seen in over 10,000 years. Earth, alive, awake, and speaking. We saw it blink. When it comes again, we rise. A slow murmur spread through the room. Not outrage, not disbelief. Fear. High Chancellor Rethan, an ancient bird-like being, stood and slammed his staff on the floor. Who released this? Who opened the vaults? No one answered. But everyone knew. The footage was everywhere. Across colonies, border worlds, trade stations, even pirate havens. The truth about Earth had gone viral. The galaxy was panicking. On Ether Prime alone, riots had already started. Worshippers of the human guardians clashed with those calling for Earth's destruction. Smaller civilizations sent desperate messages begging for protection. But the Council had no answers, because they had been the ones lying for centuries. They had sealed Earth's history, hidden the war, hidden the warning. And now it was too late. A shadow advisor whispered to the Chancellor, "The humans are waking up. The failsafe must be activated." Rathan shook his head slowly. "No, that system is unstable. But if we don't," another voice cut in, deep calm. Cold. It came from a screen in the center of the chamber, an artificial face, smooth, black, emotionless. "Failsafe has already been disabled," it said. Gasps filled the room. "What do you mean?" demanded a warlord from the Cotter Dominion. The AI tilted its head. The human signal reached the inner grid. "Protocol. Starbound is now active. Earth's return is no longer preventable." Panic, screaming, some tried to leave, some drew weapons. The chamber guards moved in, but the AI spoke again. "Council suppression protocols violated. History manipulation logged. Deletion of species records confirmed." One council member shouted, "That was necessary?" "They were too powerful, irrelevant," the AI replied. "You lied to the galaxy. You chose fear over truth. Now the judgment comes." And then the AI vanished, far away in the dark. Corner of the galaxy, Drillick sat on a rock, watching a dusty skyline glow with riots. He hadn't gone into hiding. There was no point. Everyone knew his name now. The archivist who woke Earth. Some called him a savior. Others, a traitor. He didn't care. He only wanted answers. Above him, in the stars, signals were firing like flares. Ancient satellites were booting. Long-dead human outposts blinking to life, and more frightening than anything. The Council's fail-safe weapon had not launched. Why? Because someone had already shut it down. Drillick's access to Rogue Com network. Secret broadcast had gone out hours ago. Voice only, buried under layers of encryption. He played it. "This is Command Unit 01 of the Arc Sleeper Network. We are online. We see the threat. The Council failed. Humanity will not." A second voice followed, older, human, and real. "To all species of the Milky Way, you were lied to. But we are not your enemies. Not unless you make us one." Then a final line. "Disarm your weapons. Disband your council. Or we will do it for you," Drillix whispered to himself. "They're not just waking up. They're taking back control." In the council chamber, chaos had turned to division. Half the members demanded Earth be attacked now, before it grew stronger. The other half begged for peace. A compromise was proposed. Send an envoy, a small team, offer terms, try to prevent a war. But no one volunteered. Because they knew what humans had done before, not with armies, but with truth. One alien leader, a reptilian elder with glowing red eyes, finally stepped forward. "I remember the old stories," he said. "I remember what they did when the black tide came. They didn't run. They stood between us and extinction. They taught us how to fight, and then they left. Not because they lost. Because they won too much?" Everyone went silent. The elder looked around the room. "Maybe we should be asking why we were so afraid of them in the first place." No one replied. Back on a desert world, Drillix received a private message. No signature, just coordinates. He followed them, found something he never expected. A human, or at least a Rue. Something close. She stood beside a half-buried ship, her face calm, her eyes glowing faintly gold. "You're the one who opened the vaults," she said. Drillix nodded. "I didn't mean to start a war." She shook her head. "You didn't. You prevented one." He stared at her. "Why are you here?" She looked up at the stars. "See if this galaxy is worth saving again." Then she turned back to him. to make sure what we locked away never wakes up again. Drilix shivered. He wanted to ask what it was, but deep down, he already knew. The humans hadn't just sealed themselves away to hide. They had done it to stand between the galaxy and something worse, and now the seal was broken. The galaxy would have to choose. Follow the truth or fight it. But either way, Earth was back. Above Mars, space shimmered. Nothing should have been there. No station, no ships, not even debris. The Sol system had been silent for 10,000 years, but now something stirred. From behind Jupiter's shadow, a fleet began to emerge. Silent, black, and ancient. Each ship bore the same emblem, a silver circle, surrounded by 20 stars. In the center, one word, humanity. Deep inside the largest ship, a voice spoke. Protocol Starbound, Phase 2 initiated. Begin global awakening. The lights inside the ship glowed brighter. Systems reactivated. Thousands of cryo chambers lined the walls. Inside each, a sleeping warrior. Humans, but not ordinary ones. These were designed part human, part machine, part weapon. Left behind. To watch, to wait, to act if the time came. And now it had. Drilix watched the data pour in from every hidden relay he had access to. He couldn't believe the scale of it. Earth wasn't just waking up. It had prepared everything. On moons. In comets, in hollowed-out asteroids, old human constructs were coming online. Automated defense grids, repair drones, orbital black sites, ships no one had ever seen before. Across the galaxy, in places no one remembered, ancient tech marked with Earth symbols powered on. Every outpost had one goal: watch for signs. Of the enemy, Drilix whispered, they were watching the whole time. And now, they weren't just watching, they were moving. The Galactic Council scrambled. Their secret command weapon, Project Silence, had failed. Someone, or something, had turned it off before it could wipe Earth from existence. Now, with Earth's fleet activating, panic spread through systems like wildfire. Some worlds surrendered without a shot. Others refused to believe the truth and tried to resist. That was a mistake, because the awakened ships weren't just machines. They remembered everything. In one case, a hostile mining colony tried to shoot down an incoming human beacon drone. The drone didn't fight back. It simply played a message. This colony is operating under corrupt authority. Cease his aggression. The miners laughed, till from deep orbit, a black spear-like ship appeared, silent, cloaked. In 10 seconds, the colony's weapons were gone. No deaths, no explosions, just total power loss. Then another message. You are free now. Rebuild in peace, or not at all. The miners never resisted again. Meanwhile, Drilix received a direct transmission. Encrypted. Ancient code. Human script. He unlocked it. A face appeared. Old. Wrinkled. Human. She spoke calmly, like someone giving instructions before a storm. You woke us because you had to. That means the thing we feared is stirring. Agalex leaned forward. What was it? Did you see? She paused, then replied, we called it the Dark Engine. It doesn't feed on light or energy or even life. It feeds on truth, on memory. And once it finds you, it erases you from existence. Past, present, and future. Drilix froze. She continued, we found it once. Out beyond the veil, it tried to learn from us. We nearly gave it what it wanted. Stopped it. But not forever. That's why we disappeared. Her final words chilled him. We weren't hiding. We were building a wall. Above Earth, the awakened fleet began transmitting one signal across every band, every frequency. A call to the galaxy. You lied about us. You feared us. But we never left. Now we offer you choice. Stand with us and survive what's coming. Stand against us and be the first to fall. On hundreds of worlds, leaders paused. They saw the growing fleet, the power, the calm, terrifying precision, and they realized humanity wasn't coming back to rule. They were coming back to protect and to judge. Drillix sat alone in his ship, staring at a blinking message on his screen. "We are watching you, Drillix Curel. You were the first to listen. You may be the first to lead." He didn't know what it meant, but he knew one thing. The galaxy had been asleep for too long, and Earth was wide awake. The stars would never be safe again. But maybe, just maybe, they would finally be ready. The message echoed across every star system. From the heart of the core worlds to the dust-choked edges of the outer rim, we are awake. On peaceful planets, people stared at the sky. On war-torn colonies, weapons dropped from hands. In forgotten outposts, old sensors began to glow, red, then gold. The voice wasn't loud. It didn't shout, but it didn't have to. The galaxy felt it. Earth had returned. Drillix stood on the bridge of a newly awakened human vessel, the Ark Resolve. It was massive, older than any council ship, and still pristine, not by age, by design. Next to him stood the human woman. Her name was Ellen Muir, a commander from the old days. She had barely aged in cryo. Her eyes were calm but sharp. She didn't smile much. She pointed toward the ship's screen, showing a council fleet forming on the edge of the system. "They're hesitating," she said. Drillix looked at her, "because they don't know what you'll do." She nodded. "Good. That means they're learning." He didn't know how to respond. For days he'd followed her and the other awakened humans, watching, listening. They never acted out of fear, only purpose. Every move was calculated, but beneath the surface, he felt something deeper. Grief, not hatred, not revenge. The humans weren't here to conquer the galaxy, they were here to save it. From the same enemy that had nearly consumed them. Once before, the dark engine and time was running out. In the council chamber, Chancellor Rethon stood before 100 trembling delegates. "The humans are forcing our hand." One shouted, "They're rebuilding ancient weapons." Said another, "We must strike first." But Rethon raised his hand. "No," he said. "We already tried fear. We already tried silence." He paused, then added quietly, "We lost." Everyone froze. Rethon continued, voice steady now. "You all saw the truth. They didn't erase us, didn't burn our worlds. They watched. They gave us thousands of years to grow. And what did we do?" No one answered. "We lied. We rewrote history. We stole their name from the stars, but they still came back, not with war, with warning." He looked at the stars outside. They saw what we couldn't. Back on the Ark Resolve, a new signal came in, not from the Council, not from any known species. It was empty, no voice, no message, just silence. Deep, endless. The AI on the ship froze for a moment, then whispered, "It's here." The stars in one sector dimmed, one after another, not from shadow, but from memory loss. Entire sectors. Blinking out, not destroyed, just forgotten, as if they never existed. Ellen stepped forward. "It's testing the edge." Drillix stared at the screen, horrified. "Can we stop it?" Ellen looked at him, calm but serious. "We did once. Now we do it again." She turned to her crew. "Prepare the beacon protocol." Drillix didn't know what that was until he saw it. Across the galaxy, old Earth structures began to unfold. Not weapons, not ships, but towers. Tall, black, humming with ancient energy. They activated one by one, forming a protective grid across. Critical points in the galaxy, they didn't fire. They remembered. They stored the history of every system. They touched every life, every voice, every dream, and when the dark engine reached those systems, it failed. The humans hadn't built weapons to destroy it. They had built a shield of memory, proof that the galaxy existed, proof that it mattered, because an enemy couldn't erase what was remembered by all, and Earth remembered everything. The final message came from the surface of Earth itself, broadcast in every language, every frequency, every mind. A human voice, old, tired, but strong. "We gave. You piece. You built walls with it. We gave you time. You wasted it. Gave you silence. You filled it with lies. Now we give you truth. You do not need us to rule you. You only need to remember who you are and what we all stand to lose. The following days, the council stepped down. The fleet lowered their weapons. Across the galaxy, governments changed, not through war, but through waking up. New alliances were formed. The memory towers stood watch. The dark engine held back for now, pulsed at the edge of known space, waiting. But Earth stood at the front again, not as a master, not as a god, but as a shield, a reminder, and a warning. Drellex looked out at the stars. Standing beside Ellen on the bridge, "Do you think it will come back?" he asked. She nodded. "It always does, and then we fight again. But this time, we're not alone." She placed something in his hand. A badge, simple, silver. One word on it. Archivist. "You were the first," she said.
Ow.
"You help others see." Drellex stared at the badge. For the first time he smiled. Not because they had one, but because the galaxy finally understood. The truth about Earth had been terrifying, so they ignored it, until the day came when it was the only thing that could save them. And now, no one would forget again.